Alrighty, let's start today off with AU. Okay, we don't have high impact news today, but we do have medium impact news on USD in the evening. So if you want to check that out and check your timing in your time zone, check out forexfactory.com. Okay, so starting with AU, we have a sell zone up here and our buy zone down here. Our sell zone and engulfing buy that failed in the process of failing created an engulfing sell. Then later, it was respected multiple times and created this second engulfing sell, another engulfing sell. So we know that the seller is over here quite strong. Then for our buy zone, we have an engulfing buy meets an engulfing buy. And because it was going sideways in here, that's why I marked it as a zone for a potential buy. Okay, current price is over here. And what can it do for AU? Screenshot that. Okay, current price is over here. If this H4, which will close in 20 minutes, decides to come up into our sell zone, since it's very close to our sell zone, so either it be this H4 or the next H4s to come, if they decide to come into the sell zone and respect it, then potentially we can try to find a sell setup in either M5 or M15 for a sell back down. But if it breaks up above, then probably it might want to test a higher zone up above for a better sell down. Vice versa, if it decides to drop down into our buy zone and respects it, then potentially we can catch a buy back up. But if it breaks down below, then it might want to test a lower area or a lower zone. All right, so where do you monitor for entry? You monitor M5 or M15, meaning after H4 closing for low risk entries, you switch down to M5 or M15 to find a setup. So which do you go first? Check M15 first if you can find a setup. If you can't find any setups in M15, then switch down to M5. All right, so that's the flow for AU. Now, we go to the next one, USD CAD. Again, sell zone, buy zone. Sell zone, engulfing buy that failed over here, but in the process of failing, created an engulfing sell. Then for our buy zone, we have an engulfing buy meets another engulfing buy that kept the price up above for many days. Now this H4, potentially it might want to test this. So what can we do for USD CAD, or what can it potentially do for us to monitor is, if it decides to drop into our buy zone and respects it, then potentially we can catch a buy back up. But if it breaks down below, then it might want to test a lower area or a lower zone. Vice versa, if it decides to shoot up into our sell zone and respects that, then potentially we can catch a sell back down. But if it breaks up above, it might want to test a higher zone. Okay, so after finding your entries in M15 or M5, where do you place your SLs? If you've entered in here, let's say you're going for a sell, after the setup has formed and you've pressed entered, whether it be in the key level or just down below, depending on the setup itself, you count 40 pips from your entry. Same thing over here. If you catch a buy setup after forming, count 40 pips down below, and that will be your SL. Because 40 pips gives a bit of space for the price to move a little before going in the direction you want. Mind you that these are currency pairs, so it's not gonna go into the direction that you want in a few seconds. Okay, it might need a bit of time, but if it is going in the right direction and you caught the right direction, it will move. It just needs a bit of time and space before doing that. All right, so SL, I'm gonna write it down. SL at 40 pips from entry, like this. Okay, that is for USD CAD. And last but not least, EG. So we have sell zone, which is an engulfing buy that failed, price respected over here. It also created the first engulfing sell over here. And we have our buy zone, which is an engulfing sell that failed, price came back, first engulfing buy, then we have the second engulfing buy. So now these H4, since this one dropped down below and is testing this zone from the key level. So EG, what can it do? If EG decides, let's screenshot that. If EG decides on this H4 to still respect the zone, since the previous H4 still closed within the zone, you can switch down to M5 or M15 to monitor for any entries for these last 15 minutes and for the opening of H4. Okay? Because if you can find that, then potentially you can catch a buy back up. But if it breaks down below, then it might want to test a lower area. Vice versa, if it decides to just shoot up into our sell zone and respects that, then potentially we can catch a sell back down. But if it breaks above, then it might want to test a higher area. Okay, where do you place your TPs? Again, if you are not a big pip kind of trader, big pips kind of trader, then set your TPs according to your level of comfortableness. Meaning, if you are only comfortable with holding for 20 pips, most of your TPs should be at 20 pips to book some profits. Then you space it out. So 20, 40, 60, or if you are not comfortable with 20 and you feel like 10 is easy for you to make, then you could do 10, 20, 30. It is completely up to you. But at least book some profits as you go along the way. Once it hits your first TP, set break even so you can protect your capital and potential profits. Okay, so that's for all the 3 pairs. Trade smart, trade wisely, and don't let Wednesday wash all of your hard work out. Okay, talk to you soon. Bye.